Hello everyone, and welcome back to the series about Python integration for MT5. In this video, I'm going to discuss how to retrieve historical information, price data, and tick data. So let me show first that I'm going to import, besides the MT5 package, I'm going to import Pandas, the pizza library, and from the datetime module, I'd like to import datetime. And let me run this block of code. Now the connection between my Python environment and MT5 is established. And if you go to the documentation page and scroll a little bit here, to see these functions, copy rates from position, copy rates range, and this is copy ticks from and ticks range. We're going to explore all these 5 functions in this video. Maybe I'll have to split it into 2 different parts, but let's start with this first function, which is copy rates from, and this one is used to extract historical price data starting from a specific date and going back in history for a number of bars. So 4 parameters in the function: the symbol name, the time frame. The time frame comes from the enumeration list. Here you can see down below the different available time frames: 1 minute, 5 minutes. By the way, here's a little mistake. This must be 15 minutes. Hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. So these are different time frame options. And if, for example, you start from the date of today, the 31st of January, and you provide this as a starting point, and for example, you go back 10 daily candles, so you're going to extract information from the 31st until the 21st of January. And let me show you here something very important. Here down under the notes section, you should read this paragraph, which says that when creating the datetime object, Python uses the local time zone, while MT5 stores tick and bar open time in UTC time zone without the shift. Therefore, datetime should be created in UTC time for executing functions that use time. Data received from the MT5 terminal has UTC time. So this is why we need the bits model. And if you scroll down to the example, I'd like to copy this time part of this example. I think this is what I need. Actually, what I need are mostly the comments, but let me paste this here. I can remove this part here. And let's go line by line. The connection is established, so the first thing to do is to set the time zone to UTC. Let me run this, and now I have this time zone variable, which is UTC object of bits module. And let's read the comment below. Create datetime object in UTC time zone to avoid the implementation of local time zone offset. Okay, let me just amend to the current date. This must be the 31st of January. So if I run this line of code, now I have the starting point with the time zone information parameter set as this UTC time zone, and get 10 euro USD, but I prefer to use hourly bars because you will see the difference between the first and the second historical data. You'll see in a second what I mean. I'm starting here from the 31st, 25th in UTC. Here once again hourly candles. If I run this line here, rates, this variable is created and the array object of numpy module. Let me jump back to the documentation just to show you. Return value returns bars as the numpy array with the named time, open, high, low, close, and so on. But if you open this, you see this kind of information, which is not exactly open, high, low, close. So let's convert this into a Pandas DataFrame and now everything looks much better. We have our 10 candles starting from 0 to 10, open, high, low, close price. What we have to do is to convert this time from seconds to something more human readable, and what I'd like is to set this time column as an index. It's just visually more appealing, so let's do this. Okay, and now this is our nice looking data frame, and as you can see here we are starting from the 31st of January at midnight, exactly as expected. If you go here once again to the documentation, you can see date of opening of the first bar from the required sample. So the opening time, yes, this is what we got here, and it goes back in time. So 31st, this is the opening time, starting from the 31st and going back in time, hourly candles, as you can see. And if you'd like to compare this opening price here, it's 1.03882. So if you go to MetaTrader 5, here inside this data window, you can confirm this information. You can activate the data window here from the menu tab or Ctrl+D. So let me go and find the candle which is 31st midnight, this one, and the opening price, as you can see, is 1.03882, exactly as provided here in the data frame. Of course, you can compare this information between the data frame and the MetaTrader 5, but of course it's the same because the source of this information is exactly the same. And now let me demonstrate you what would be the difference if I don't set the time zone to UTC. So it's going to implement the local time zone offset. And if I quickly copy this code, no UTC, just a brief description. So I will write no UTC, and here I have to remove this. So let's run this line here, and I'll have to replace here this variable. I'll remove this one. So if I run these rates, now I have the updated rates, and no UTC. Let's use this because it's more descriptive. And if I paste it here and here and here, I think this should be it. So let's run this, and now I have the two data frames. The first one, I'm in a GMT plus 2 time zone, so what I'm expecting to see is a difference of 2 hours. This is the first time frame. We've already seen that everything is exactly as requested, and if I scroll to the second data frame, this is the last row of this data frame without the UTC time zone. You can see that here the last candle, the last bar is at 22 o'clock, 10 p.m. And here the last is at the 31st of January at midnight. So you can see that if I don't use the UTC adjustment, you could extract, you could have this kind of time discrepancy, because actually it just cuts the final 2 hours here. You can see here that I have 23 and the last one at midnight, but here the data frame ends at 10 o'clock once again, because I'm in GMT plus 2 time zone, and here Python uses the local time zone, while MetaTrader stores tick and bar open time in UTC time zone without the shift. So this is just a brief example to demonstrate what could be the consequences if you don't use this pizza module to meant to provide UTC time zone, but let me delete this code now. I'm not going to use it anymore, and I think this is enough for this function about retrieving historical information using copy rates from. Once again, you have to provide the symbol, the time frame, of course it could be 4 hours, daily, or whatever you need, UTC from the starting date, adjust it in UTC format, and of course you could extract as many candles as you wish. Okay, so let's move to the next one, which is copy rates from position. Once again, you have to provide the symbol and time frame, and the starting position this time, this is the bar index. So if you go here, initial index of the bar, the numbering of bars go from present to past, thus the 0 bar means the current one. So this is bar 0, this is bar 1, this is bar 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so let's write a little quick example here, just give me a second. Okay, now I'm ready. This is the example, and this time I'm going to use this function, copy rates from position, and the parameters, the symbol name, the time frame. Here is the index number, so we are starting from the current bar here, and we are extracting 10 bars of history. Let me run the entire code. Of course, you're already familiar that these rates will, let me run just the first one. So if I run these rates, here I have this object in the array of NumPy module, and you have to convert this into a data frame. So if I open now the rates data frame, you can see that we start from the current candle, and while this candle is still in the process of formation, which means that the high, low, and close could change in the meantime, the opening price is confirmed, and it can't change. So let's confirm this into the data frame. Opening price of this candle, we are in hourly time frame, so 1.03946, and once again 03946, exactly the same. If you go up, you can compare this data frame with the history of your MetaTrader 5 terminal, but of course it's exactly the same because once again the source of the information is the same. So, for example, you can of course use here as a starting bar the first one, which is this candle here, and often you would prefer to start extracting historical information from the first bar because you need confirmed data in order to take your algo trading decisions. You can see here this is constantly changing, so you don't know, for example, if you use, let's say, a moving average strategy, and you don't know where exactly the moving average will close, because this bar could close here, but it could close actually here on the downside. So often you would prefer to use already confirmed information because this candle has closed. So if you run this one starting from bar 0, let's this time use 100 bars back in history. Now save this information to the same data frame. You can see here now that I have 100 rows and 7 columns with this information, tick volume spread, real volume, and here is the first one, which is 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. You can see here this one starts at index 0 starts at 9, but this one starts at 8, and the opening price is 1.03889. So if you go here, this is the opening price, and I think you get the idea how to work with this kind of functions for historical information. This one is very useful. Maybe this one is the function that I mostly use in my trading algorithms and financial analysis. And let's go to the next one, which is copy rates range. But I think I should cut the video here. Let's put the end of this first part of the video about historical price and tick data. And in the next one, we will cover this function and the take functions as well.